So the macro environment is basically looking at the overall dynamics of a country or an immediate environment in which a business finds itself. But with that, we have to understand for every environment, it is different. And in terms, especially with the way the world is right now in terms of businesses and how they go global. So for example, you could be a one-man business and tomorrow you could be global. It's very simple now with the technology that we find ourselves and what we called entrepreneurship democratization. It makes it so easy for one to just blow up one day and become, an international known business. So with that, it's essential that we understand that, the outside environment plays a major role in terms of the dynamics or understanding what we need to do within the market that we find ourselves. So we're going to look at some of these factors. We have the technological environment, the economic environment, the social environment, the natural or physical environment, the institutional or political environment, and then the international environment. So, of course, we know that technology plays a major role today, especially with the internet, social media, data management. AI is another big thing that I hear coming up, and all these factors tend to play a major role on the innovation that tends to come about with businesses understanding that they always need to be innovative. They always need to think out of the box in terms of whether you're looking at the product itself or the distribution channels or the supply chains or whatever it is. At the end of the day, innovation plays a major role. Now, of course, you can't do that with technology, but then also understanding that technology makes the processes faster. Advancement in technology makes the processes faster, and other aspects of the business much more efficient and effective. So understanding the technology that exists and knowing and being on your feet in terms of knowing what technologies you need to know about to make your business better is always essential. Then we have the economic environment. Of course, we know with recent economic volatility that takes place, whether in Nigeria or abroad, we see how inflation rates, high interest rates is bringing about, issues in terms of prices and affordability, and that in itself does reflect upon what is possible in terms of prices of goods and services and what is feasible in terms of what can be provided to the customers. So I've seen instances even on social media whereby vendors have been complaining about 1 week apart going to buy raw materials and the prices have hiked up. And of course, this is due to the inflation. That's the economic environment. And that in itself will affect, their businesses and what is, how consumers react or the buying behavior of consumers automatically. And understanding that or understanding the economic environment already gives you an idea of what is coming ahead in terms of how things are going to look like. Of course, automatically, once inflation rates started going high, we automatically know in the next 1 month, 2 months, the buying behavior pattern of consumers are going to change. And understanding that and putting that into mind goes a long way in knowing how you as a business, you need to put things in place or maybe buy more raw materials, for example, or be supplied more materials to then be able to then help towards cushioning the effect of, some of these inflations that we see today in Nigeria or even across the world, as I've said it. Of course, some people can see it as an advantage depending on the type of business or the industry that you find yourself. So of course you see, for example, those that do dollar exchange and how that becomes an advantage to them. But the most important thing is to be aware of what is going on in the economic environment and then see how you can either use it to your advantage, which it becomes a strength. It becomes an opportunity, what we call an opportunity. Or if you see it as a threat, you look for a way to mitigate or cushion it so that it doesn't affect your business. It affects your business to a minimum degree as possible. Then we have the social environment. Now, social environment, I think, is one of the major factors that plays or is is one of the factors that plays a major role in determining what decisions that businesses have to make. Now, the social environment here, we talk about the cultural, we talk about the religious, we talk about the traditional. And of course, we know as Nigerians, this plays a major role in the trends that take place, what is acceptable, what is not acceptable within the environment we find ourselves. And knowing the dynamics of this social environment will then determine what type of product you're going to buy, even the price in which you're buying and things like that. So even, for example, it's not even within Nigeria and outside Nigeria. So for example, if you were to sell a particular product like, for example, yogurt, Afman yogurt. So my cousin does a delicious yogurt. And if you were to sell it, which here right now it goes for, she sells it for a certain cost, which I won't tell you, just for business owners. But then people buy it for 2,000. Now, it was actually before you could buy it for like 1-2, but because of the inflation rate, it has gone very high. Now, because of the quality of the yogurt, people are willing to buy it at any price that's within Abuja. But I can bet you, if you take it to another area that maybe whereby the consumer buying behavior is different, they're focused on more affordability, they're low income earners, then automatically you would see a push away. So knowing even where to sell the Afman yogurts will go a long way in determining that. But again, it's all about the social environment in terms of how the culture is, how the the dynamics of the sociability in terms of urban, rural areas, and how that dynamics tends to also influence what people buy and what people don't buy at the end of the day. Then we have the next factor, which is the natural or physical environment. Now, with the natural and physical environment here, you talk more about the dynamics of how the nature in terms of maybe, for example, cold season, Harmattan season, raining season, how that plays a role on what people, or does the consumer buying behavior and what is acceptable. But then also it goes a long way in determining what type of business you want to go into in terms of that. So of course, if you're someone that only sells umbrellas and rainy season is only for a certain season, then you're going to be out of season at a particular point in time of the year. So it's essential that you're able to understand how the environment works in terms of the seasons, and then in terms of any hazards or any natural disasters that tend to take place within that area. And that goes a long way to help you in knowing how to position yourself, but then more importantly, what to sell and what not to sell at a particular point in time. Then we have the institutional or political environment. So of course, we know, this is not just for Nigeria, we know that politics plays a major role. It determines the pattern of businesses and how businesses are run in the country. And with that, it also opens up sometimes opportunities for a particular type of industry. And with that, that's why when people are studying a particular country or looking at a particular shift in politics, they know it's going to influence the business dynamics and what they can do and what they cannot do in terms of that. So then we have the international environment, and this is where we look at the global village, and we understand that with the international environment, with technology and the role that technology plays in terms of social media and how information is passed across, automatically influence is always there when it comes to the international environment in terms of what you see taking place in US and how it reflects upon the trends or how it influences the culture within here. But then also in terms of wars that tend to take place nowadays, in terms of places like Ukraine with Russia, and how that affected the oil prices, and automatically with affecting the oil prices, it then in turn affected the prices of goods and services across the board. So we see how there's a wave effect when you talk about the international environment and how that affects one. And then again, just recall that I've said this, that with technology we see how a one-man business can become international. I've seen on social media how you see a business that basically is only one person handling the business, but orders are coming from UK, from Canada, from London, and they get it across the board, and automatically that just opens up the borders for us. It makes of course things much more easier, but then it has disadvantages and advantages at the same time. But again, the whole point is that once you're able to understand the dynamics of this environment, it goes a long way. That's the macro environment. It goes a long way to give you an idea of how to position yourself in the environment that you find yourself. So with that, we're going to the next slide, which we're going to look at the SWOT analysis and the Porter's 5 forces.